Hello everybody and welcome to the first part of a new series. What if Izuku Midoriya bonded with Venom? Yes, a while ago I did a poll. This one came out first, and second came what if Deku had a twin sister, which will be out in a bit. It will be the next what if I start. Yeah. Couple things to say first. First things first. Happy Halloween, everyone, because if everything goes according to plan, this video will come out in Halloween. And I thought that was incredible timing. Who could have predicted such a thing? Well, me, because I deliberately scheduled it like this. Second of all, if you guys want more of this series, let's get to 300 likes and you will get the next part next week. Yeah, that sounds about right. I already said that in the outro, so now I'm saying it in the intro. And the third thing is this video may be a bit similar to the version of What If Midoriya Had Venom from We the Celestials. There's a reason for that. I wrote both of those. I wrote that one. I wrote that series up to part 5, and I wrote this one. I tried making the storyline a bit different, and there will be more differences later on as the story progresses because I stopped working out for them at the time. But I just want to warn you so I don't get the typical comment, "You copied this from WTC." Yeah. I kind of did, but it's because I wrote it. I even asked for permission if I could do this series first. Yeah, still gonna get that comment probably, but just wanted to let everyone know. That said, like, subscribe if you're new, and enjoy the video. Space, the final frontier. A vast emptiness that spans for what looks like an infinity. It's a place filled with many fascinating phenomena. Years ago, a meteor flew through the universe, aimlessly wandering the cosmos, until it came close to a planet. Planet C-53, otherwise known as Earth. The vessel was deemed a threat by the inhabitants of the planet, so they destroyed it, scattering the remains across the atmosphere. Most pieces were destroyed on re-entry, but some managed to survive, landing on the planet's surface. There, the meteorites were collected by a research company, the Life Foundation, for further study. Little did they know, but the discovery they were about to make would change everything. Welcome, students, to the Life Foundation Exploration Museum. Please, do not stray from the group and enjoy as we explore the recent innovations in space exploration brought to you by the Life Foundation. I'm Angelo and will be your tour guide today, Angelo said, welcoming the second-year students of Aldera Junior High to this space exhibit. He then proceeded to start the tour. As you have probably heard, there is a theory in our society that if quirks hadn't manifested when they did, then we would already be exploring the vastness of space and its secrets. The Life Foundation was created to rectify this setback, and among other things, we have advanced the exploration of our galactic neighborhood a great deal. The tour guide started moving to the first exhibit, with the group following him close behind. Among the group was a particular green-haired boy, writing down notes like his life depended on it. He was more interested in heroes and their quirks, but space was a fascinating thing, and some scientists even theorized that quirks could have originated there. We were the first company to send someone to the moon in a very long time, and are planning a mission to Mars in the near future to continue our grand adventure. The rocks on your left aren't merely that, they are samples collected from space. They are a combination of moon rocks, meteorites found there, and even some meteorites that landed on our planet a year ago. The tour guide continued. The green-haired boy from the group leaned in to examine the meteorites, noticing a strange black spot on one of them. He raised his hand, trying to get the attention of the tour guide. "Yes, Angelo asked, leaving a pause after as if he was asking for the boy's name. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Are these meteorites from the meteor that was theorized to end life on Earth?" the boy asked while trying to draw one in his notebook. Why yes, Midoriya, they are, the tour guide answered. The rocks at the left side of the stand are from the incident a year ago. Scientists believed that the meteor would be the cause of another extinction-level event, but thanks to our advancement in technology, we were able to destroy the meteor. Most pieces burned up on re-entry, but some managed to survive. We've been studying them ever since. Now over here, the tour guide continued, but Midoriya's attention was drawn to the rock in front of him. It was fascinating. He was taking notes on his notebook and did notice the group moving away. Some classmates stayed behind. Realizing that the group was moving on, after a moment of thought, Midoriya turned around, bumping into a boy with spiky blonde hair. Startled, Midoriya fell back, hitting the glass of the rock exhibit with his back, with enough force to cause a small crack in the glass. "Oh, sorry, Kachan," Midoriya said from the ground, looking up at his childhood bully. "I don't want you getting the wrong idea, Deku," Bakugo said menacingly, slamming a small explosion next to Midoriya, shaking the exhibits. "We're in the world we are, and here you're as worthless and defenseless as they come." "Yeah!" another bully agreed. "Hey, come on, kids. You don't want to be left behind, do you?" the teacher asked. He realized that there were a couple students missing and doubled back to check, only to find a scene playing out. "Now, we all want to avoid trouble, so let's get moving." "Whatever," Bakugo smugly responded, as he and his group went into the next room. Shaken by the explosion, seeing an opening in the glass, the black goop that was on the meteorite started moving. It was its chance to escape. It managed to survive once by hiding, but saw no opportunity to really escape before now. It was on the verge of death. If it didn't do anything now, then no other chance would arise. The goop slipped through the crack, slithering through Midoriya's clothes just as he got up to continue the tour. Now, as many of you may know, the founder of our organization, Carlton Drake, is a quirkless man. But growing up, he found his passion in the world of science. He wanted to expand his understanding of the universe, the tour guide continued, paying little attention to the kids who just rejoined the group. You don't need a quirk to be useful to society. Hearing those words, Midoriya couldn't help but smile. He had been looking for validation for a long time. It wasn't what he really longed to hear, but it was close. One day, someone might say it, but for now, this was good enough. "What are you smiling about, Deku? Carlton Drake was skilled at something, but you're just useless," Bakugo commented. The tour eventually came to an end and the students were taken home. It was the end of semester excursion and it had been a fascinating experience for Midoriya. "Hey Mom, I'm home," he announced as he came in through the door, taking his shoes off at the entrance and heading to his room. He felt a strange chill on his leg as a piece of black sludge slithered from his shoe up into his leg, but he didn't look. He just thought it was a draft of wind or something. "Hello, Izuku. Dinner will be ready in no time," Inko announced as Midoriya got ready to do his homework. "Thanks," Midoriya responded, acknowledging that he heard her message and turning to focus his attention on the next day's homework. Being in a safe location, the black sludge dismounted from the kid's leg, hiding in the bottom of the table while moving around slowly. "Izuku, it's ready," Inko shouted after a couple minutes of cooking. "Coming!" Midoriya responded, getting up from his chair and heading to the living room. After dinner, Midoriya returned to his room. He finished the exercises he started and then went to bed. It had been a long and exciting day. Some rest would do him some good. He faded to sleep pretty easily. Little did he know that while he slept, the black goop that hitched a ride home with him slowly slithered around his room, making its way to the bed. An hour after falling asleep, Midoriya's arm fell off the bed. The organism saw its chance and latched onto the boy's arm, slithering through his body. He was a good candidate and it needed to survive. This was its only option. Midoriya had a pleasant dream. He dreamt about becoming a hero, about going to the best school for heroes, UA High, and becoming who he always wanted to be. Something he knew wasn't possible. Something that would never happen in real life. It was just that, a dream. As the goop expanded to take Midoriya's body in the real world, the dreamscape started to become darker. It was consumed by shadows until only Midoriya was left. There he stood, amid a vast emptiness. What's happening? He wondered, looking around, searching for anything familiar, anything at all. Where am I? What looked like eyes manifested in the sky. Those big, white eyes frightened Izuku. He tried taking a step back, falling to the ground.
Not the best specimen, but you'll have to do,
a disembodied voice said. The sound was frightening as it echoed through the boy's mind. Who are you? Izuku asked, scared, as he looked around, not a soul around. Was this a nightmare? It had to be.
Who am I?
The voice asked, as the eyes from the sky approached, taking a humanoid form. It was just a black body, contrasting the black background somehow, but it had the same color. The features seemed to match Izuku's, but the eyes were just pure white.
I am Venom, a member of the Clintor species.
What do you want from me? Izuku asked, looking at the man from the floor, trying to take a step back.
Nothing,
the voice answered, now emanating from the humanoid in front of him.
I want nothing from you. The only thing I want is to live. You see, to increase our chances of survival, our species requires a host. We make them stronger, faster, even absorb some abilities and talents as we go along. In return, they grant us with the essence we need to survive.
Like a symbiosis? Izuku asked, drawing a connection. A couple days ago he learned about symbiotic species in class and was drawing upon that knowledge.
Like a partnership,
Venom corrected, stretching his hand to Izuku, smiling. Izuku wasn't afraid anymore. Somehow that feeling went away, just being replaced by wonder. The boy got up and shook the man's hand. Once he did, the symbiote smiled. It was a type of smile that would send shivers down anyone's spine. Tendrils spat up from the ground, enveloping Midoriya, dragging him down. He struggled to keep himself afloat, doing all he could to stay above the surface.
don't struggle now.
The symbiote said, smiling at Midoriya as he was taken down. Midoriya struggled for air, gasping as the tendrils almost got him fully submerged. Midoriya woke up, gasping for air, struggling as if his body had been drowning. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead as he breathed in deeply, trying to fill his lungs again. It was a crazy dream, and he could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins. He took in his surroundings. It was dark, but he recognized his room. What time is it? He wondered as his heartbeat started to calm down. He looked at the clock next to his bed. The time read 3:02 a.m. Still having time to sleep further, Izuku laid back down, drifting back into sleep, not knowing what was going on in his own body, or what he had just agreed to. The next few days, Midoriya started eating an abnormal amount of food. For some reason, he was hungrier than usual, so he acted appropriately. 3 days after the incident, during PE class, Izuku was minding his own business, stretching before the class started. "Hey, watch this," Bakugo whispered to one of his friends, grabbing his softball and winding it up to throw it. With his friends laughing behind him, already imagining the outcome, Bakugo threw the ball, backed up by a small explosion, aiming it at Midoriya's head. He picked the right moment since the teacher had just left to go get the supplies for the soccer practice he was planning for the day. The ball hurled towards Midoriya, but before it could hit him, as if on instinct, Midoriya jumped over it, flipping around in the air and landing 2 meters away from his starting position. What just happened? How did I do that? Midoriya wondered. His body just reacted. He had no idea what he had done. The bully, along with his little group, looked at Midoriya flabbergasted as well. There was no way Midoriya could do that. His instincts weren't that sharp. It looked like he sensed the ball coming. Thinking it was just a fluke, Bakugo kicked a soccer ball in Midoriya's direction. But when it got close, Midoriya kicked it back, again as if on instinct. He didn't think, he just did. The ball lunged at Bakugo at even greater speeds than before, hitting him over the head and knocking him to the ground. The PE teacher, expecting the usual situation, approached the incident, seeing a group of kids gathered. But when he got into the crowd, it was actually Bakugo who was hurt, not Midoriya. He saw Bakugo on the ground with a bloody nose and Midoriya standing a couple feet away. The situation was flipped from what it was supposed to be. "Did you see that?" a boy whispered while the teacher stared in disbelief. "He just shot the ball right back, like he knew it was coming. And he also avoided the other throw. Did you see that flip?" a girl asked. "Did he manifest a quirk? Is he one of those late bloomers?" another classmate asked. Having assessed the situation properly, the teacher gave Bakugo a slip and sent him to the nurse's office for the time being. And although it was probably unintentional, he did assault his classmate, in the middle of class no less, so he sent Midoriya to the principal's office. What was that? Did he really manifest some sort of quirk? He's supposed to be defenseless little Izuku. How did he do that? Bakugo thought to himself angrily, as he grabbed the permission slip and headed to the nurse's office. So cool! Did I really manifest a quirk? Midoriya wondered as he looked at his hands in the waiting room. He was in trouble, but if a quirk was the result, then the trade-off was worth it.
It wasn't a quirk,
he heard someone say. The voice seemed strangely familiar, although he had never heard it before. He looked around to see where the voice was coming from. The only people in the room were the secretary, who was typing something into a computer, and two other students who seemed disinterested in the events happening. Who said that? He wondered out loud, whispering to himself.
Have you forgotten already?
The symbiote asked.
It's Venom, your new partner.
What? Izuku screamed startled, jumping out of his seat, gaining the attention of the people around him.
I suggest you keep it down and use your indoor voice, unless you want to attract unwanted attention,
Venom said in a calm manner, as if slightly embarrassed by his new host's actions. What are you doing here? Who even are you? Midoriya thought to himself. It was weird having another voice in his head, but he figured that by thinking he could have a conversation with the being sharing his body.
We've been through this,
the symbiote said, annoyed. If it could facepalm, it would.
I'm Venom, your new partner, and I'm afraid you're still with me, since we're already fully bonded.
What? Who gave you permission to do that? Izuku asked indignantly.
You didn't remember,
the symbiote asked, bringing the memories of the dream to the forefront of Midoriya's mind. I thought that was a dream, Midoriya exclaimed in his head, the words echoing.
Dream or not, you meant what you said, so I took his permission. We're partners now, and I intend to keep up my end of the bargain. We're in this together,
the symbiote stated. Midoriya Izuku, you can come in now, the secretary said, looking uninterested at the boy, before shifting her gaze back to the computer. Midoriya then stepped into the principal's office, where he had a chat with him. Since Midoriya was usually the bullied kid and it was likely in self-defense, the principal only gave him a warning. With this new development, Izuku decided to get it registered as a quirk in order to avoid any future problems. Although that act did raise some red flags for certain people. The boy and the parasite living in him shared some experiences together. Eventually, Midoriya fully shared his aspirations with his forced partner, telling him how he wanted to go to UA High and become a hero. The symbiote had agreed to help him in whatever he wished, but also saw a sort of nobility in Midoriya's aspirations, leading Midoriya to align himself further with Midoriya. For Izuku, going to UA High was his top priority. Knowing that, Midoriya and Venom started training intensely every day in order to pass the entrance exams, although they did apply to a couple of their schools just to be safe. Over the course of a couple months, Midoriya learned to fight and move around with his partner, little by little learning about his new abilities and what he was really capable of. At every chance he had, Midoriya would ask Venom questions, writing down his findings and all possible information on a special notebook. Some questions Venom refused to answer. There was certain information that he didn't want to divulge, but other than those specifics, which Midoriya eventually learned not to ask about, he'd answer any question. Before they knew it, the two partners stuck together by chance even became friends. Before he had even time to process it, his third year of junior high passed him by and the day of the UA entrance exam arrived. "You got everything you need, right, Izuku?" Inko asked, seeing her son get ready for the entrance exam. She was worried about him. Sure, he had manifested a power, but he was still her son. She couldn't help but worry.
"You packed the shoulder pads and helmet? Oh, and the food?"
Venom asked, adding to the mother's question, although she could not hear. He and Izuku had prepared special equipment using Izuku's allowance just for this instance. Yeah, I got everything I need, Mom," Izuku answered, responding to both questions at once. "You're gonna be careful, right? Don't do anything too risky," Inko said, concerned for her son's safety. She did not know what the extent of his quirk would reach and did not want him getting hurt. "I'll be fine, Mom. Love you," Izuku said, hugging her before leaving the house on his way to the entrance exam. He planned on being careful, but he also wasn't going to squander his chance just for safety. This was his one chance to go to the school of his dreams, after all. After a while of traveling, Midoriya arrived at UA High. After arriving, he took a moment to stand in front of the gates and marvel at them. This is it. UA High, the place where all great heroes studied, he thought to himself.
"I suggest you get moving,"
Venom said.
"You're kinda looking like a spaz."
Before Midoriya could react to the comment, the spiky-haired boy passed him by, bumping him on the way. "Out of the way, you damn nerd!" the boy shouted in his typical explosive tone. Memories of Baku and Midoriya's interactions flooded in. For some reason, there were fewer as of late. The boy had been cutting Midoriya some slack ever since the incident at PE practice. He had become more of an observer than an active part of his life. Midoriya just looked at the boy walking away, thinking about it all for a moment.
"I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but we should get moving,"
Venom suggested, knowing that the sooner they got settled in, the better. "Right. This is the first step towards my dream. I will become a hero," Izuku thought to himself, taking a step forward. But as he did, his foot slipped, causing him to trip. Or maybe I'll just die. As Midoriya fell, a black tendril shot out of his leg, stabilizing the pose and balancing him out.
"Not gonna let that happen, partner,"
Venom said, with a bit of confidence in his voice.
"Besides, I doubt a fall from this height would be fatal. And stop belittling yourself. We will pass this exam."
"Thanks, V. You're right. Let's do this," Midoriya thought, putting a confident expression on his face while taking another step forward. He felt a bit of heat emanating from behind him, so he turned around, only to find a girl stretching her arm towards him. Both of them stared at each other awkwardly for a moment. Oh, I'm sorry," the girl stated, seeming a bit nervous as she took a step back. The nerves of the exam were already getting to her and she wasn't even in the building. "It's just, I saw you fall and was going to help you with my quirk, but then you caught yourself. it just left me in that position. No, it's fine. It's no problem at all. Thanks anyway, Midoriya responded. When realization sank that he was talking to a girl, his face started to turn red. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I'm Ochako Uraka, the girl introduced herself in response, offering a bright smile to the boy. It's super nerve-wracking, right? She asked. I'm just so nervous. What about you? To be honest, I'm pretty nervous too, Midoriya answered. But don't think about it too much. I'm sure we'll do great. You're probably right. Good luck then, the girl said as she left Midoriya, going towards the building. Good luck, Midoriya reciprocated the wish as he too continued on his path to the main auditorium.
Why did you produce neuropine frying when talking to the girl?
Venom asked, feeling a slight chemical imbalance inside of Izuku's body as the chemicals corrected themselves.
Are you attracted to her?
What? No! Shut up! Midoriya shouted out loud, getting attention drawn to him. He was usually careful with what voice he used in conversations with his partner and other people, but the question caught him off guard. After Izuku sat through President Mike's explanation of the practical exam, he went to the changing area, where he put on some shoulder pads, a helmet, and a bit of basic gear, mostly defensive. It wasn't unlike what you'd find a rugby player wearing, and went well with Venom's abilities, adding extra defense to Venom's incredible agility and speed. Okay, do the thing, Midoriya ordered once he put everything on. Venom obliged the request, manifesting a layer of black goop on top of what Izuku was wearing, completing the look with a black and white design with slight green highlights.
There, now we're ready,
Midoriya said, his voice now changed, sounding more like Venom than himself. Once all the students got changed, they went to their respective training grounds. At Training Ground Beta, Midoriya and Venom waited, trying to get ready for the upcoming trial. While waiting, Midoriya spotted Uraka, the girl he met before. Without thinking it through, he approached the girl.
Are you sure that's a wise decision?
Venom asked, stopping Midoriya. He knew that a chemical imbalance like before could lead to a weaker performance than wanted.
If we talk to her now, we'll only distract both parties.
You're right, Midoriya answered.
I'm hungry.
Venom said in a demanding tone, sounding kinda like a child. It amazed Izuku at times how Venom would just go from a sensible tone to a childish one. Fine, Midoriya said, slightly annoyed. It was hard keeping up with his partner's urges. He reached into a small pouch and grabbed a bit of chocolate. He then ate it. But this better be it, because I need to focus during the exam.
Don't worry, I won't see a peep,
Venom reassured, pleased now that his needs were met. Are you ready? President Mike shouted, not a second after Midoriya finished eating. Then go, go, go! There are no countdowns in real battle? Oh, crap, Midoriya exclaimed, trying to keep up with the other contestants as they all ran into the battlefield.
As promised, I'm leaving this to you,
Venom stated, retracting into Izuku's subconscious as to not be a hindrance.
If you need help, I'll be there though.
Midoriya jumped into the air, creating tendrils from his arms and using them to swing around. If he stuck too close to the beginning area, then he wouldn't find many villains to defeat. He moved around for a couple seconds, gaining some distance from the other contestants. Moving through the air was a lot easier, and it seemed that only one other person was keeping up. Having removed himself from the entrance, Midoriya found more enemies around him. He dropped on a 3-point robot, smashing it with the force of the impact. He then extended the tendrils on his arm at a 1-point robot that charged at him, and he slammed the robot into a 2-pointer. Just like that, he already had 6 points, and it hadn't even been a minute. He turned around to look for other targets, spotting more contestants that were reaching the area he was in. But he was still close enough to destroy one. He jumped at the 3-point robot that was targeting another examinee. He used the symbiote to form claws in both his hands and started to dig into the robot until he breached the hull, ripping a bunch of cables until the bot stopped working. He needed more points and a better place to get them, so he again started swinging around the air, using his tendrils to maneuver around the buildings. A scene that really reminded him of an American hero he once heard of. After 8 minutes of fighting, Izuku took down a total sum of 23 robots, even helping out a couple contestants, although he did remind the judges more of a villain when he fought. He was still doing a pretty good job, though. Okay, pretty sure we have about 39 points now, Izuku said, thinking back. He had taken down 4 3-point villains, 8 2-point villains, and 11 1-point villains. Just a little more and we'll be set. He spotted another robot and jumped at it, grabbing onto it with his tendrils. He jumped up into the air, carrying the robot and slamming it in front of him. 40. He updated the point total. But as he now found himself in the main street, his attention was drawn away from his total to the giant robot everyone was running from.
It's worth 0 points, right? Best if we just avoid it and rack up a couple more points.
Venom suggested, manifesting himself for the first time since the exam started, since he felt Midoriya needed a bit of guidance, but he mainly manifested himself out of boredom. Letting Midoriya fight that thing would be stupid, so of course he cautioned against it. Yeah, you're probably right, Midoriya answered, turning around to continue the exercise. Ah! He heard a scream, a cry for help. As if on instinct, without even thinking about it, Midoriya just turned around and started running towards the scream.
What are you doing?
Venom asked, confused as Midoriya jumped into the air, rushing towards the girl in peril.
I thought we were going to get more points. I don't know. My legs just started moving. We need to save her,
Midoriya stated as he got closer and closer to where the girl was trapped.
I hope you at least have a plan,
Venom stated. Midoriya started moving around in the air, changing his trajectory. He landed on the rock above Uraraka, hurting her slightly by the displacement of weight, but he redirected most of his momentum while expanding his symbiote to grab onto the rock, throwing it off her back. He flipped back as the rock flew through the air. The robot was approaching, so he quickly grabbed onto Uraraka and jumped away. You okay? He asked while swinging through the air, getting further and further away from the robot as the mask peeled off. Mostly fine, Uraraka answered, putting her hand to her mouth. Her quirk already made her dizzy, and now this crazy movement on top wouldn't help. I think I twisted my ankle. Okay then, Midoriya answered while maneuvering to land. The moment he did, Uraraka faced away and spilled her guts out. She couldn't contain it any longer. Are you sure you're alright? Midoriya asked, concerned. Yeah, peachy. The puking just means I overexhausted myself too much, Uraraka answered, wiping away a bit of the residue bar from her face. Okay, that's it for the exam, ladies and gentlemen, President Mike announced. Moments later, all the robots stopped in their tracks, shutting down. Good. Glad you're alright, Midoriya responded, falling to the ground in exhaustion. It was a shot of adrenaline that was keeping him active, but that robot would have crushed him if he had just been a bit slower. Oh, it's you, Uraraka commented after seeing Midoriya's face. She hadn't put the pieces together. It was really hard to recognize Midoriya when he was covered in that stuff. Plus, she didn't get a good look at his face while swinging around, although she had seen the same substance come off him before. Venom stated, wanting to replenish a bit of strength. Midoriya was going all out for 10 minutes and they had a light breakfast. Yeah, it's me, Midoriya answered while grabbing another chocolate bar to quench the hunger he felt. Recovery Girl then entered what had previously been the battlefield in order to check up and heal those who had been hurt during the exam. His injuries healed, Midoriya returned home. A week passed. Midoriya went to a couple other entrance exams. He did his best at them and even managed to pass some. They were a lot less intense than UA, so they were easier. That was us, during the UA entrance exam, Midoriya commented as he and Venom watched his favorite All Might video.
I know. It will be us again,
Venom said in support of his friend. At first he was just a means of survival, but he was starting to grow fond of the human he was attached to. Izuku, it's here! A letter from UA! Inko shouted while stumbling into her son's room. Her voice was filled with excitement yet had a tinge of worry. Mom? Don't come here so suddenly. I could be doing stuff, Midoriya responded, slightly frightened by the sudden entrance. It's here, Izuku, Inko reiterated, a couple tears forming in her eyes as she handed her son the letter. Midoriya grabbed the letter from his mom's hands as she once again left the room, wanting to give her son some privacy. Midoriya walked back to his desk and placed the letter on top of it.
Aren't you going to open it?
Venom asked. Don't rush me, Izuku answered. This was a big moment. He was pretty nervous. He slowly opened the envelope, only to find a small disc inside, not the letter he was expecting. He placed the disc on the table, a hollow screen coming up out of it. All Might? Izuku exclaimed, surprised to see his hero in any relation to UA, while Venom just looked on from Izuku's shoulder. Congratulations, young man, All Might said in his typical energetic voice. You have passed the UA entrance exam and have gotten into this prestigious academy, with flying colors, I might add. Not only that, you even placed in the top 10. You impressed the judges with your show of heroism when you decided to put your life on the line to save that girl. But you also frightened some. Regardless, here is your score. All Might pointed to an area of the screen where Izuku's score manifested. He had acquired 40 villain points as he calculated, but also 20 rescue points. You see, as a hero school, we have hidden parameters for an exam such as this. So you didn't just earn points fighting villains, but also for helping people out. Congratulations, young man. I am excited to say that you are now part of a hero academia. All Might continued, the screen shutting off once the message ended. I did it, Midoriya exclaimed, tears filling his eyes and starting to flow. I really did it!
No, Midoriya,
Venom corrected.
We did it. And that's the end of the video. Don't forget, like and subscribe.
And that's it for the Venom voice. I cannot maintain that for the whole outro. It really hurts my voice to do, but I hope it's cool. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you all enjoy this video. 300 likes, next part next week. How about that? Again, I'm making this before the intro, so the intro will already say that. I again want to reiterate that if it's similar to the version from We the Celestials, then there's probably a reason for it, because I wrote that too. I tried making it different, but I think some of the parts still came across. I didn't want to repeat my famous joke of occupied, the thing with the sludge villain, so I tried to imbue other types of humor into the thing, and I hope it worked. You can probably see a little factoid of Venom in this version. I want to start adding those again to the videos. I think that may be a little cool. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. For once, this is the first. I spent so long making that Venom voice, and this is the longest video it's taken me to record. I usually start my videos a lot sooner, but because of various conditions, I only start later on in the day, and it's almost midnight. I've been working at this for like 5 hours. My voice is gonna be dead tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. If you're new around here, please subscribe. If you enjoy me ranting at the end of the videos, please say something in the comments, because this is kind of the part of the video where I can just be myself, show my actual personality, and let you guys get to know me a little bit better, and that's something I actually enjoy. I do it a bit in the intro and then the outro. Still, this video has been pretty long, which is my fault for making it such a long script. The me of the past really hates me with all those Venom lines. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this Halloween special thing, and until next time everyone, have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye!